Okay, so good day, everyone. First, let me introduce myself. My name is Limbert Santillan, and I'm from the Bachelor of Secondary Education, major in English. Uh, and I'm from Black Bee. So today, I'm going to talk about something very important in doing research, and that is research instruments. So these are the tools we use to gather and study information. So just like a doctor that needs tools to check your health, a researcher needs tools to collect data and find answer to their questions. So why do we need these tools? Because they help us get the right and reliable information. Sorry again. So without them, it would be hard to know if our answer are correct or useful. So there are three main types of research instruments that we use. Okay, so first is the qualitative instruments. So qualitative instruments help us to understand people's feelings, thoughts, and experience. Uh, they often involve asking open questions like interviews or focus group discussions. Second instrument is quantitative. So this deal with numbers and statistics. Examples are surveys or tests where you count answer or scores to see patterns. Next is mixed method. This combine both qualitative and quantitative tools. Um, sorry ulit. So this means we use both words and numbers to get a clearer and deeper understanding of a topic. Okay, again, a qualitative instruments help us to collect deep and detailed information. They focus on people's experience, thoughts, and feelings. For example, researchers might use interviews or focus group discussions to hear what people really think or feel about a topic. Second, we have a quantitative instruments. These are used to gather numerical data. This means information that can be counted or measured. Tools like surveys, questionnaires, or tests often used to collect this kind of data, which can be analyzed using statistics. And then there is the mixed method instrument, which combine both qualitative and quantitative. So this approach gives us a more complete and balanced picture of the research topic by using both words and number. So let's understand these three one by one. So before that, choosing the right instrument depends on a few important things. What your research question is, uh, what kind of data you need, what your participants are, and what resources you have, such as time. So using the right tool helps researchers get accurate, useful, and meaningful results. So let's start with the first type, the qualitative instrument. So these tools are used when we want to gather in-depth and detailed information. They help us understand people's experiences, feelings, and thoughts. Instead of numbers, qualitative research focus on stories and insights. Some common methods include interviews, where the researchers talk one-on-one with someone to learn about their personal experience. Focus group discussions, where a small group shares their ideas and opinions on a topic. Next is observation, where sorry again. Observation is where the researcher watch how people behave in real life situations. And then there's document analysis, where existing texts or materials where existing texts are studied to find patterns or meanings. So these tools are great for exploring complex topics and understanding the why behind people's actions and beliefs. So in short, qualitative instruments help us to see the bigger picture. They allow us to go beyond surface level, answer and truly understand what's happening and why. So one of the common tools in qualitative research is the interview. So there are three main types of interviews. First is the structured interview. Um, okay, so structured interviews. So this follows a fixed set of questions. Everyone is asked. Everyone is asked the same thing in the same way. So this keep things organized and easy to compare. So next is the semi-structured. So these have few planned questions, but the interviewer can also ask follow-up questions. So this gives more freedom to explore interesting ideas as they come up. Last is the unstructured interviews. So these are more like casual conversation. There are no fixed questions, and the goal is to let the person speak freely, and also share their thoughts in detail. So, interviews are great because they let us collect personal and deep insights. They also give us the chance to ask follow-up questions and really understand someone's point of view. So, but there are also some challenges. Interviews can take a lot of time, and sometimes the way the question is asked or how the person understands it uh, can cause bias or misunderstanding. So, however, however, interviews remain one of the most powerful tools for exploring people's real thoughts and experience. Another important qualitative tool is the focus group. So focus group are small group discussions led by a researcher. The goal is to explore the group's thoughts, feelings, and experiences about a specific topic. So this method is great because it allows us to share and build on each other ideas, leading to a richer and more detailed information. One big advantage of focus group is the dynamic interaction. People often say things they wouldn't think of their own, uh, just by hearing others talk. Uh, 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 but la- uh, but like all tools, focus groups have some challenges. Sometimes a few people may dominate the conversation, making it hard for others to speak up. Also, there's something called groupthink, where people agree with the majority just to fit in, even if they have a different opinion. So, despite this challenge, focus groups are a powerful way to gather diverse opinions and get a deeper understanding of what people think and feel. So, third is observation. So observation is all about watching people's behavior to learn how they act in real situations. So there are two main types of observation. Participant observation. So in this method, the researchers becomes part of the groups or community they are studying. This helps them get a closer, more personal view of what's going on. So next is non-participant observation. So here the researcher stays on the outside and just watches. Okay, sorry again. Let's go back. Non-participant observation. So here are the researchers. Uh, here on the non-participant observation, the researcher stays on the outside, just watches without getting involved. So this helps keep things objective and unbiased. Uh, participants observation gives a deeper and more detailed understanding, but it can lead to bias since the researcher is part of the action. On the other hand, a non-participant observation is more neutral, but it might miss one of some deeper feelings or meanings behind people's actions. So this method is especially helpful in behavioral studies. We're watching how people act, uh, in so this is helpful because we are watching how people act. Just It's just as important as what they say. Next is another important qualitative tool is a document or content analysis. This method involves studying written text, media, or historical records to find patterns, themes, or meanings. So, it helps researchers understand how certain topics, events, or ideas are shown or talked about in different forms of communication. So, for example, a researcher might look at newspapers, speech, social media posts, or old letters to see how people talk about a certain issue over time. So, by looking closely at the content and the context, the researchers can discover deeper message, social values, or historical trends. This adds a lot of insight to the research, especially when studying culture, communication, or social issues. In short, document analysis help us learn from what has already been written or shared, and see and it helps us to see what it reveals about the world we live in. Ah, ah. Now, now, let's move on the quantitative research instrument. So these tools are used to collect numerical and objective data. In other words, they focus on numbers, helping researchers find patterns, trends, and relationships in the data. Here are some common quantitative methods. First is surveys. These are structured questions with set answers like multiple choice or rating scales. They're great for collecting data from a large number of people. Standardized tests. So these are carefully designed tools used to measure things like academic skills, intelligence, or specific abilities. Experiments. In experiments, the researchers change or control uh, one variable to see how it affects another. This helps show the cause and effect relationships. Next is the structured observations. In this method, behaviors are observed and recorded using a set of rules or criteria, making it easier to count or compare actions. So, this method are especially useful when the goal is to get reliable data that can be analyzed with statistics and applied to larger groups of people. So, quantitative instruments help researchers make clear, evidence-based, uh, quantitative what's it again quantitative instruments help us help us researchers to make a clear evidence-based conclusion using numbers. Okay, so one of the most commonly used tools in quantitative research is the questionnaire. A questionnaire is a set of close-ended questions that people answer in standardized format, usually by choosing from options like yes or no. So, or rating something from 1 to 5. So, the answers from questionnaires can be easily turned into numbers, which makes them perfect for statistical analysis. So, researchers often use questionnaires to gather information from many people quickly and efficiently. There are some great advantage to using this tool. Questionnaires are cost effective, easy to distribute, and allow for quick data collection. Plus, the results are simple to organize and analyze. However, uh, questionnaires also have some limitations. Since the questions are often short and fixed, they might oversimplify complex topics. Also, people might misunderstand a question or choose an answer that doesn't really reflect how they feel, leading to inaccurate data. Still, when designed carefully, questionnaires are a very powerful tool for collecting large amount of useful information. Let's go into the next. Another is standardized tests. So these tests are widely used in areas like education, psychology, and social science to measure specific things such as intelligence or personality traits. What makes standardized tests unique is that they are designed to be reliable, meaning uh, they, uh, they give consistent results and valid meaning when they are supposed when what or uh, what uh, what makes a standard test unique is that they are designed to be reliable, meaning they give consistent results and valid, meaning they actually measure what they are supposed to measure. For example, IQ tests assess intelligence, while aptitude tests measures skills in specific areas like math or language. Okay, so the main advantage of standardized tests is that they provide objective data that can be compared across different individual groups. So this is essential for researchers and decision makers as it helps them to understand patterns and make informed choices. So So in research, experiments are used to test cause and effect relationship. In an experiment, researchers manipulate one more factors. It's called independent variables to see how they affect something else called the dependent variable. For example, if a researcher wanted to know if a certain study technique improves test scores, they might change the study method independent variable and observe how it affects students' test scores. That is the dependent variable. Experiments are powerful because they allow researchers to measure exactly how one factor influences another, which is great for testing hypotheses. Ah, but to get reliable results, uh, it's important to collect data in a systematic and controlled way. So this ensures that the experiment is consistent and that any challenge are due to the manipulation of the independent variable, not something else. So by controlling all variables and using precise measurements, experiment provides strong objective evidence that can prove or disprove a theory. Finally, we have mixed methods research, which combines both qualitative and quantitative methods, as I said earlier. So this approach gives researchers a broader view of the research problem by using both numbers and personal insights. For example, researchers might use surveys to gather numerical data and then interviews to get a deeper understanding of people's thoughts and feelings. So, the main advantage of mixed methods research is that it provides richer, more detailed data. By using both types of data, researchers can explore a topic from multiple angles, seeing both the big picture through numbers and individual stories through words. So, for instance, in a study on student performance in online education, sorry again, where are we again? What's the example I gave earlier is, yeah, the student performance in online education. Researchers might use surveys to measure things like grades and completion rates, which is the quantitative, and then conduct interviews to understand students' experience, which is the qualitative. So, combining both gives a much fuller and clearer picture of the issue. So, remember, when choosing the right instruments, it's important to keep a few key factors in mind. First, consider the research objectives. What is the goal of the study? If you want to understand and experience our behaviors, qualitative instrument like interviews or focus groups may be the best choice. But if you need to measure specific variables such as test scores or survey responses, quantitative tools like surveys or standardized tests might be a better fit. Next, think about population you're studying. Are you working with small group or a large one? This will help determine the type of instruments that's the most practical. This will help determine the type of instruments that most practical. So additionally, you need to consider things like sampling methods and the resources you have available, including time and of course your money. Finally, time constraints are important. Some methods can be very time consuming and resource intensive. So it's essential to choose an instrument that matches the time you have for collection. So in short, selecting the right instrument is all about matching the research goals with the right tools. So you need to consider this, uh, uh, and then of course, last is uh, the practical limits of your study. So I think that's it. So that's it for my presentation. Thank you very much for listening.